Now closest one. Sometimes what happens, in a particular question, 4 options are given, and you think that all 4 are nearly similar. Then how to identify the right answer? Okay. Sometimes all the options seem to be correct, then we must select the closest one. Among those 4, one among those 4 will be more appropriate answer. We have to identify that more appropriate answer. Now see this question. Government of India Act of 1919 clearly defined. Okay, we all read Spectrum book for modern history. Okay, and there are so many laws which were passed by the British Parliament regarding India in 1909, in 1919, in 1935. Okay, 1919 Act. First statement: the separation of power between judiciary and legislature. If you have read it once, you will come to know that this was not part of that bill or that act. This was not part. Based on my knowledge, I know that this is not the part of that act. Okay. Come to third. We will, as of now, skip B and we will come to C. The powers of Secretary of State and the Viceroys. Those were mentioned? No. Okay. The powers of Secretary of State of India and Viceroy and none of the above. Just see, if you have knowledge, if you have read it once, you can easily solve the question. Answer is B. The jurisdiction of central and provincial government. So, based on my knowledge, I know that diarchy in the state, in the provinces was introduced. Diarchy, okay. Then the powers were distributed between center and state. Central list, state list, that kind of division was made. Okay, devolution of power was there. So I know that the answer is B. Now I will see which of the following is more appropriate. Now this is the closest one wala logic. So more appropriate. See, first, separation of powers between judiciary and legislature. If I think about 1919, I need to have little bit understanding. 1919, this was not the major issue. Judiciary and legislature, their relationship was not a major issue. The first is gone. Third, the powers of Secretary of State of India and the Viceroy, this was not also a major issue. The major issue at that time was the jurisdiction of central and provincial governments, because central government was more powerful and the local leaders were demanding more autonomy to the provinces. Okay, so in that case you can go with the B, but for that you need to have at least little bit of understanding of 1919 Act or whichever act that is mentioned in the question. You need to have little bit of understanding of that act. Only then you can solve the question, and you should know the historical contemporary issues of that time. What was the major issue of that time? We know that in 1919, okay, first world war had happened. Okay, and the British government had decided to give a responsible government to all of us. Okay, responsible representative government. That means more and more elected members will be there in the assemblies, central as well as provincial, and at the same time jurisdiction of central government over the provincial government will be even more specific. Okay, that kind of decision was taken in 1919. Clear? Third statement is not directly related. First statement is not related. Fourth, if you have a more appropriate answer between B and C, B and D, you can go with the B. Okay, but you need to have little bit of understanding of 1990 Act, 1919 Act, and the historical events which were happening around this year. Okay, clear? Now we will go with the next question. Which of the following reflects the most appropriate relationship between law of the land and liberty? We all are citizens of this country. We know that there are laws passed by the government. We know that there are the laws passed by the government, and we express some kind of liberty. We always want liberty to do whatever we want to, okay, to develop ourselves. So what is the relationship between law of land and liberty? For this, you need not read Lakshmikant in the detail. You need not to be expert in political science. You need to be a responsible citizen, and you should be able to have awareness about what is happening in our surrounding, and we should use the logic. Firstly, if there are more laws, there is less liberty. Is there any correlation between more laws and liberty? Like if there are more laws, there is less liberty. That means if there are less laws, there will be less liberty. Is there any direct relationship between laws, number of laws, and the quantity of liberty? No. At least by logic, this is wrong. By logic. Second, if there is no law, there is no liberty. Let us see, you are unable to think about this. We will come to third. If there is liberty, laws have to be made by the people. In our country, is there liberty or not? Yes, there is a liberty. But who makes the law? People or parliament? Obviously, parliament makes law. That doesn't mean that if you want liberty, the laws has to be made by the people. Is it possible for 130 crore people to make laws together? Even when we think about party, the poor people in the party are unable to have consensus on, let us say, which pub or disco or hotel to go. Okay, so people, if we make people responsible for laws, in that case laws will be difficult. Even in case of, let us say, there are 500 members in the parliament, even then it becomes difficult task to pass a law. So third statement in that case will be wrong. Fourth, if laws are changed too often, liberty is in danger. Now you have to see, laws are changed too often, liberty is in danger. What is the meaning of this word? Too often means what? Within a week, after every week, every year, every decade, or every century. It doesn't make any sense. If this word itself doesn't make any sense, this option itself makes no sense. So we are able to remove 3. This is the most appropriate. This could be the situation, a particular situation in a particular country. This could be a situation, a specific situation. If there are more laws, there could be less liberty. This could be one of the possibility, but this is not the overall possibility. This is the only possibility. Now I will explain this using a logic. If there is no law, there is no liberty. Let us say law of jungle. What is law of jungle? There are no laws in the jungle. Is there any liberty in jungle? You don't know when you will be killed by tiger. If you are, let us say, deer, you don't know where you will be killed by tiger, when you will be attacked. You have no liberty at all. Okay, so if there is no law, there is no liberty. Tomorrow, let us say, there is no law on rape. Is there any like assurity that rape will not happen? Okay, there is a law, and that's why liberty is there. Okay, there is a law to protect, let us say, life of an individual, right to life and personal liberty. There is a law, and that's why people are respecting your rights. Your liberty will be there only way there are laws. That doesn't mean that law should be by the parliament, by the people, or by the religion. It could be any law, but law has to be there, only then liberty will be there. Okay, so that's why option B. Clear?